Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. It's not mail call time, but it is a spinner review, and this is the ArcRite by Scottua of STC Designs. I don't know if I pronounced the name right, Scottua. Please forgive me if I got it wrong. But the spinner arrives in this cardboard roll, and you can see that it is a tin top and bottom, and this one actually has an inlay. And you can actually see the logo, I guess. The spinner, the ArcRite, the bottle opening spinner by Scottua of STC Designs. And yeah, I've actually had this for quite some time, so I've been messing with it quite a bit, and I decided that I wanted to do a review now because I think that it is time. So no official first impression unboxing, but here you go. This is what you can expect. It's a double layered cardboard roll thing, which is actually pretty cool. Very much like the Hogdoggins style, I believe. I don't own a Hogdoggins ball buster, but I think that they also ship it out in these kind of a cardboard rolls. I don't know if it's the same size, but this is the one being used by STC Designs for the ArcRite. It is wrapped up very nicely in this little bubble wrap packet. Now, like I said, I've had this guy for quite some time, so I will just quickly share with you my first impressions. I actually got this guy because I saw someone posted it on SpinSpace, and that was during the time when I was initially playing with the FlickDeck. And I was like, man, the FlickDeck kind of sucks. And this looked like a better bottle opener, like a legit bottle opener. You can immediately tell it is literally almost like just two bottle opener halves just combined together, and then a bearing in the middle was added and turned into a spinner. So this is really a functional kind of a spinner. Yes, it is a novelty, I suppose, but it is a very, very functional bottle opener. And trust me, after trying this out versus the FlickDeck, this definitely opens bottles the way a bottle opener should. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but this basically feels exactly like a bottle opener when you're opening bottles with this versus the FlickDeck when I was just struggling a lot. And I have a little clip when I actually brought this out to the office and had a couple of drinks with my colleagues, so don't worry, we were drinking after hours. Yes, after hours is fine. So I'm just gonna roll the video. Check it out. Hi.
I mean, it's really called the joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
For a reason. It jokes you.
It's your joke. This is Ansari. You guys never seen him before, but right now he's going through his fasting month, so he's heading back for dinner to break fast. Can't even see Kenji at all.
Two guns. Oh fuck!
What the fuck, Theory? Asshole.
Fucking Zorro is it?
What do you think?
Pretty tough to spin because I have fat thumbs and fat fingers.
Yeah, but that's the main problem with this thing. Later on, right? You just change it to this button.
Spin at it.
Yeah, and then you see the difference. Huh?
Small fingers.
Yeah, you swap the buttons over and then you see how. Because personally, I feel that these buttons are just too small. Spinatic buttons are the shit, man.
Yeah, man. Or just nice fit, man.
Yeah, perfect, right?
Yeah.
You try spinning now, I tell you, guaranteed.
Yeah, much better. This is bliss in the finger.
Bliss in the finger, bro.
It's good. Yeah, it's really good. White though. People small hands can't use this.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I mean, it looks like a regular bottle opener, so it's quite cool because it's like two-sided bottle opener turned into a spinner, which is quite functional in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very...
Try open. Tell me, do you think that it works just like a normal bottle opener?
Well, yeah, definitely. It gets the job done perfectly.
You try open bottle with this one first.
Have you tried with this one?
Yes, it's a bitch. Try it.
Okay.
This is the FlickDeck. Just try open with this. I don't know.
Let me just do my research. Do you hear that? That's the sound of failure, man.
Sucks, right?
Was this even designed to open bottles?
Yes. Okay, you take one more.
You did a terrible job at it.
Okay, you use that one. Use the ArcRite.
Yeah, use this.
And then we change the button so it spins a lot better.
Okay, buttons first by courtesy of Spinnetic. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Feels good, man. Smooth, right? Wrong side, lah. Ta-da! Yeah, works, definitely works better.
Definitely works better. Works just like a normal bottle opener.
Right, cheers, man.
I'm saying. Okay.
Cut.
Cheers, guys. Panggang hours.
Panggang hours.
Panggang hours, bro.
Okay.
But I sold my life to the company, so I bo pain.
Chill later. Cheers, man.
Yes. And for those of you watching, we can't offer any to Ansari because he's Muslim. Yeah. So this thing works.
Throw the buttons away.
Say that again.
Throw the buttons away.
Now it can be used for something else. Maybe you could try putting it on your Spinnetic.
No, it wouldn't fit at all. It's a really big spinner, but small buttons don't work for big
Okay,
spinners.
this works on a stubby.
Yeah, it's because it's small, but not on that. No.
See you, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely good stuff.
But expensive, bro.
Overpriced bottle opener.
Novelty, oh.
Yeah.
But it works as a spinner versus this. Bro, number one, this doesn't spin well because it's too light. Number two, you can't even open bottles properly with it.
Yeah, and thirdly, it scratches this thing when you open your own bottle.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So, think twice.
Yeah, think twice. This one is better. Yeah, definitely. At least in terms of functionality, this is a fidget spinner with a proper functionality built into it. Once I'm done with this, back to work again. Thanks! Thanks! Just show him in his face now. You should
Don't make me, I got 3 guns again. You got 2 guns. Not even fair. I mean, I have 2. What, you missed everything? You missed everything. I guess. Good shit.
fucking loser, eh. 3 shots, all 3 missed at such a distance. This is why Nerf guns are fun. So there you go, that's the verdict. This thing opens bottles the way a bottle opener should. So it is really functional, like surprisingly functional. I'll go over the aesthetics of this right now. Angled cuts on the outside and it's rounded here, so these over here feel really, really good. But there are some sharp edges here. Okay, they're not really sharp, they're just really, really hard edges. And it would cause you discomfort if you're flicking forward or backward this way. I particularly like the way it dips in the middle, so it gives you a good resting point or starting point, but it does hurt when you're leaning your finger on the edge right there, especially if you're pushing it forward all the time. But if you're pulling it back, then if you're resting a finger in here, it'll be a bit uncomfortable, but if you're going to be resting a finger here for a preloaded flick, that'll be really good. Now this spinner is actually a pretty big spinner compared to most of the spinners out there in the market. Let me show you guys a quick size comparison. A stubby is just about half of this spinner. Look at that. And it is wide. It's wider than a stubby on the outermost edge as well. So it's pretty big. Not for people with smaller hands, but then again, it is a bottle opener spinner. So you kind of want to be able to grip it like that to open bottles. The finish itself is a very light tumbled finish. You can still see all the machining marks on the inside here. Right, it's very apparent there, and you can see some on the outer edge as well. You can see all the machining lines, but you also notice that it's scratched up quite a lot. So these are not really scratches, these are just done by the tumbling process. I guess it was done to kind of deburr all the edges, just in case over here had any flash or any kind of rough edges that was going to be difficult to sand off. They put it through a deburring process, so I thought that was quite cool. Now very quickly, the biggest downside to this is the buttons. The buttons are really small. They are just too small for this frame. Look. There's no way you could table spin this with the stock buttons. No way. And it's kind of like, how do I say this? It's slightly concaved, but it's not really like a concave. It's more like many small little steps going in on the button, but it's just too smooth. I still feel your fingers wanting to slip out, especially your index finger. And the fact that this spinner is made of solid stainless steel means that the spinner is really heavy, so whenever you grip it, you really want to pinch it really tight. But at the same time, if you pinch it really tight, it means that you have to make sure that your finger's in the right orientation. If not, you're not going to get a good spin out of it. So that's the biggest downside. But once you swap the buttons out to say a set of SPINNER buttons, it just changes this whole thing completely. And I kind of wish that they actually made bigger buttons, or at least more raised buttons, if they couldn't make anything wider because of these edges on the side over here. The next improvement, I guess, if they ever are going to improve on this, and if they create the ArcRite V2, is that I hope that they could feature these edges to open your bottles. I don't know what these are called. The ridges, I suppose? I wish I could make 4. 2 on each side instead of just 1 on each side in the mirror. Yeah, having them on opposite ends doesn't really affect the spin time. As you can see, it is easily getting 4, close to 5 minutes because of the weight, and the way it's built out this way and it's throwing its weight outwards. You guys already know this is built and designed to be a long spinner. Only this part has to be hollowed out simply because that's where a bottle cap goes into. But the bottle cap never sits inside all the way, so I wish that they made 4, like I said. And it also means that during a spin, you could just simply stop the spin at any given point of time, hold on to it and immediately open a bottle. Like for example, I just stopped it and the edge is up here, not below, so I wouldn't be able to open a bottle this way. I have to make sure that I get it this way instead. So I think for, I guess, something a little bit more cool and the fun factor, if you could just spin it, immediately stop it and just grab it and open it. See, it happens again. Then it'll be fun. Like exactly what happened with Kenji. He wasn't able to initially open it right away. He had to flip it over first. So I think that's a slight improvement that the ArcRite could have. So at this point of time right now, I'm going to change the buttons into a spinnetic set of buttons to show you the difference. There, spinnetic buttons on the ArcRite, and it is raised, as you can see, very comfortably raised. This gives it just enough height to table spin if it's not on a soft surface like what I have back here. You guys already could tell from the spin video in the corner. And it is not too wide that it would hit the edges here, so spinnetic buttons actually are pretty darn perfect for this. I also understand that at this point of time, spinetics are actually selling plain buttons, and I might consider getting a couple just to put one here and maybe one on the stubby in case I want a more, like, I guess, clean uniform look, I suppose. But yeah, this works very well. This makes the spinner so much more fun to fidget with. Honestly speaking, STC Designs, I hope you guys actually consider this feedback. Really, this is much needed for your spinner. It really changes everything, and it's so much more fun to fidget with, simply because you can just grab it here, pinch it here, you know, apply any amount of pressure you want and not even have to worry about your fingers hitting against the frame when you're performing flicks and spins. Next, I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit more about the fidgetability of this guy. I shared with you that I did not like having my finger rubbing on this hard edge over here, pushing it forward in my index finger and thumb grip. But pulling back is not a problem because I've gotten used to actually landing my middle finger here, in between the thin and the thick edges, so that's really completely fine. No discomfort whatsoever. When you have it in your middle finger and thumb grip, pushing forward is no problem, but pulling back might be a little bit of a problem. If you land your finger up here, that's completely fine. But if you have a finger down here and you want to flick it back, you always hit yourself, simply because this spinner is so tall. So this is not going to be comfortable at all. You have to make sure you flick it and pull your finger back really fast like this in order for that to happen. But if you land it up here, that's great. Pushing forward, not so much of a problem. It is pulling back that is not as fun if you land your finger here. Then of course, with your fourth finger, you're gonna experience the same things as your middle finger. Now, the one thing that you have to take note of is that sometimes on the off chance, especially in this particular grip, and if you're using a fourth finger, is that you might land your finger on the inner edge, like that. And if you land it on the inner edge with the, I guess, the protrusion up here, that's not going to be a problem. But if you land your finger here with the protrusion on the inside and you pull hard enough, you might scrape yourself. So that's something you have to take note of. Apart from that, I think this is a really fun spinner. It is, however, very expensive. This cost me 110 USD. That includes shipping from Canada to Singapore. Yes, this is made in Canada. So it's a little bit expensive for what it is, but as a bottle opener spinner, I dare say this is super functional versus the FlickDeck. It's a spinner for people with bigger hands. It's a spinner for people who always open bottles, I suppose. And it is a spinner for those who like heftier spinners. This thing is pretty heavy. One of the heaviest spinners that I own. Not as heavy as the Delta Core for sure, but one of the heavier ones. Now let's talk about the buttons since we have the buttons open up here. These buttons are the old style kind of buttons, as you can see. Two halves made the same with a set screw in the middle to hold everything together. Now, I really don't like this button, really. Like, it's just way too small. It does look good on a stubby, Look at that. It looks good on the stubby, but that's about it. Even for the stubby, it is a little bit too small. It's so flat. Look at that. Like, you know how people always get stubbies and they want to change the buttons out? Yeah, these are almost like the original stock stubby buttons. So that kind of sucks. Oh, before I give you my final verdict, I just want to say that the XL Spinnetic buttons do not work with this. A lot of buttons that I own, R180 buttons that I own, do not work, which is unfortunate because of these cutouts over here and because of the height. On to my final verdict on this. Quick recap for you. Solid stainless steel, bottle opener on opposite sides, very small button, hard edges over here, angled cuts for the edges over here, which is nice. Lightly deburred R188 spinner, 110 USD, including shipping from Canada to Singapore. Do I think it's worth it? No, it is not worth it. But as a bottle opener spinner, yes, it works very well, but you'd have to change the buttons out. Definitely, please change the buttons out. So that'll cost you another about $5, I suppose. So all in all, it should cost you about 115. Pretty solid spin times, 4 to 5 minutes on each two-handed table spin that I've got so far. Nice size as a bottle opener, so it's not uncomfortable when you're gripping it to open bottles, and classic shape. Looks good for those minimalist lovers. And that's about it, guys. I hope I've given you enough information to decide whether or not the ArcRite spinner is for you. As always, I will be putting links in the video description below. I do not know if these are still on sale. I do believe that they are, because not many people have heard of this. Not many people have seen this or shown interest in it. But I did, because I wanted something that I could pit against the FlickDeck. And this, as a bottle opener spinner, yeah, it is about 5 to 6 times more expensive than the FlickDeck V1, the one in aluminium. But I guess I'd rather pay this amount of money for a spinner as fun as this and as functional as this versus the FlickDeck. So catch you all in the next slice of my life. Bye!